Hey guys, welcome back to Heel Report, which is a part of TarHeal247.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones, back for another daily drop. Once again, going to talk some Carolina basketball in this one. I got to put a disclaimer early in this. AJ, I'm putting a disclaimer off rip because I want people to understand this. What we're going to discuss here is by any means, no way, shape, or form, whatever the heck the saying goes, a diss or a knock on Hubert Davis. I want to make that very clear. I know you and David had a live stream a couple weeks ago where David was talking about how, Malone's, which we'll talk about a little bit, his recruiting style at these events is a little bit different than Hubert's and the way he goes about it. And there was people in the comments, even though he literally said, this is not a diss or anything like that, they were like, why are you dissing Hubert? And it's just like, all right, you can't win with these. So I want to put the disclaimer very early in this, AJ, just to make it pretty clear that this is not a knock by any means on Hubert. Not whatsoever. It's just a discussion we're going to have.
It's observations. Everybody's different. So it's okay to talk about the differences.
Yes,
wet,
without it.
Dry.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's a knock on anybody else. So what we want to talk about is kind of Michael Malone, man. He has this, since he took the job at North Carolina, AJ, like he's been spotted like a little bit everywhere. You've seen it at lacrosse games at Carolina, seen him at multiple baseball games. I'm not even going to count the one in which he threw the first pitch because that was obviously organized through the university, but like he's been at other baseball games. You got a little Roy Williams in that regard, who's at like every sporting event ever. And if Roy is at a sporting event, by the way, the camera is going to show him 6,000 times. So you will know Roy is at that game. They love to show Roy Williams, and rightly so. But, Michael Malone's just, you were talking about it before we started recording, and it's almost like, and maybe it's a little bit because of who he is right now and just the newness of him being the new coach at North Carolina and kind of what it means for the program. But like, it seems like the camera kind of finds him. Like, it feels like there's just, you see a little bit of something about him all the time. Recruiting events as well, which I mentioned we'd talk about. Like, we'll kind of talk about the way he goes about there and how he's different in regard to Hubert was. If some people didn't see the live stream I referred to earlier, but I just think it's an interesting thing. And I think it shows a little bit of a difference than Hubert because, you'd see some pictures of Hubert come out, through the program at maybe a Carolina football practice or something like that. Obviously went to football games like the whole team did. But like, from my understanding, I never saw Hubert pictured as much of these other things as we've seen Malone at so far. And again, that's not a diss on Hubert. It's more so just an observation we'd like to bring up.
Hubert got Caleb Wilson going about things his way. He got Ian Jackson and he got Drake Powell. He did very well. He got big time players doing things his way. So this has nothing to do with any of that kind of stuff at all. It's just more of an observation how Michael Malone is out there. It's one of those deals where he's a guy that strikes me as a really good handshaker and backslapper.
Yeah.
That guy with the backslap and the smile, someone that people want to be around. Again, not saying Hubert wasn't that. Hubert's got a lot of fans. The people who know him that speak incredibly highly. So this is not about that at all. It's just noting how we're learning, getting to know Michael Malone, so to speak. And he's also someone that he doesn't seek out the camera, but the camera knows how to find him.
Yeah.
And people, even when he's not in a super public scenario, some of the people that are covering baseball in Omaha getting pictures of him with Scott Forbes or around the baseball team, that kind of thing. He's just there. He was at regular season games. He was at a couple postseason games during the NCAA tournament in baseball. And now Omaha, I think he was at some lacrosse. I'd have to go back and check. I know Belichick, you'll see him at lacrosse because he loves lacrosse.
As you were talking, AJ, it kind of it takes me back to the 3-part series that Noah put out on kind of Michael Malone's, his tenure so far. I forgot what it was called. Was it first 90 days, first 60 days or something like that?
60.
God, it's only been 60 days. That's incredible. At the time of that coming out, at least.
Or it's two ways. It's gone by. Now we're looking at like 70 days.
It feels like it's been about 6 years at this point already.
Well, we're coming up June 19th, which is near. We're almost at June 19th. That's 3 months from the VCU game.
Wow. Feels like a lifetime ago. But
it feels like a lifetime ago, but it also feels like I'm still at the arena in Greenville.
Yeah, a little bit of that. That's the world we live in, as we've talked about before. But what this reminds me of, and Noah wrote about this, I think it was in the first one that came out, about Malone embracing the culture of Carolina, like firmly understanding it and choosing to embrace it. You look at some of the hires he's brought onto his staff. You look at him go into these games, doesn't necessarily have to do that. The man is busy enough trying to build a freaking roster and a staff to begin with. to have time to go to these games. But it seems like he really understands it and is actively choosing to embrace that part of not only the culture of Carolina basketball, but it's really a athletic department wide thing at North Carolina. It's always historically been, at least with a lot of coaches, they support each other. They go to games. It's always it's really a family atmosphere. It feels like within the coaches in the athletic department. And again, Malone's choosing to embrace that, and I see that as a massive positive. Because again, is it going to win you basketball games? Not necessarily, but coming in and not kind of turning your back on that, or, moving someone's office to the basement like Matt Doherty did. It just seems kind of like more of a no-brainer to do this than to do the opposite. So I'm a fan of it all the way around. I think it helps.
And also he's front and center at these recruiting events too. So pictures that it's easy. All the people who cover this stuff, it's easy for them to say, there's Michael Malone sitting in the front row.
What do you make?
So that's all part of it.
Recruiting. How do you see that? Do you think that's a positive? Do you think it matters?
Everyone's got their own way. I think people need to be who they are. So ultimately, when you're recruiting, you got to be who you are. You got to connect the way you connect. So I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. Whatever works for him works for him. Whatever works for other coaches works for them as well. But one thing that I've often thought was kind of interesting was when a coach would get hired, and all of a sudden, the school that he coaches at is in a College World Series, for example, and the coach is there acting like it's the greatest thing in the world. And he just got there. And what's interesting about Malone is it looks a lot different. It looks genuine. He's been around the program. His daughter goes to school there, so he's been paying money. I don't know if she's on volleyball scholarship or not, but
that works.
He's invested his family. That school's now part of that family because his daughter went there. Mm-hmm. So wherever my daughter goes to school, that will be and she plays sports there. So she's not just a student, but she's at Tar Heel. So she wears Tar Heel gear. He's been going to volleyball matches wearing Tar Heel gear. So it's not like a guy who just came in from Denver and he's got to get used to wearing light blue. So there's something a lot more genuine about him. And I'm not saying it's disingenuous when other coaches do it. I just find it interesting. That's all. Yeah. Like Justin Gainey gets hired by NC State. He goes to the NC State baseball game and makes sense. He's
a state guy. Yeah.
He's a state guy. He goes to a Carolina Hurricanes game wearing a jersey. Okay, probably don't know too much about, but he's a local guy. I mean, local enough that he went to state and support the area, that kind of thing. That makes sense. He's a state guy. But let's say I was hired to be a head coach at Oregon State, and I went to an Oregon State baseball team, and I'm going, go Bees. My only connection would be that Adley Rushman, the Orioles catcher, played at Oregon State. That would be my only connection to it. So I don't think I would have Beaver fever right away.
No, they should have let Malone ring that siren at the Canes games, man. They got we had freaking Grant Williams of the Hornets up there. I know he's a kind of an in-state kid, but I was just like,
after what happened with Doran, man, you're not touching that with 1,000.
Well, it was funny because the game Belichick was out with the NHL commissioner, they lost that game too. So there was some jokes going on social media.
That's true.
We'll talk about that. It's I guess football. True. It's a football coach correlation. Don't let any football coach ring the siren. It's not going to work out well for you. Mm. Shout out the Canes, by the way. Really cool. Awesome to see them lift the Stanley Cup for the first time in 20 years since I was 11. I literally do not remember anything about them doing it back in 2007. I
stood right next to the cup in the locker room 20 years
How does that make you feel, AJ? I was about 11 years old. Don't remember a lick about it, and you were in the freaking locker room. Could have licked the Stanley Cup if you wanted to. What a world. What a world.
OLD.
Hey, experience.
That was cool. And that was very cool before. And I think the biggest difference, not that we're having a hockey conversation, but I grew up a Washington Capitals fan, obviously. I used to go to a lot of Caps games. And when I had to ditch them when I started covering the Hurricanes some, which wasn't all that hard because once I moved down here, I was doing this job. My mom was so much on other things. I did appreciate when they won the Cup back, I think it was 18. But when I started covering the Canes, I wasn't convinced at that time it was going to work.
Yeah.
And it's pretty remarkable when you think about the swell now as opposed to 20 years ago when they won the Cup. It was a big deal then. And I'll say the loudest arguably the loudest I've ever heard in an arena, a building, was when they counted down the final seconds in Game 7 in 2006 when they beat Edmonton. That was an incredible experience. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now. But I do think it's become more meaningful now because years dig roots in sports.
Yeah.
And struggling. Like when I was really covering them a ton when I was at Fox Sports, I mean, half the stories I wrote was about them getting to the 8 line so they can be in the playoffs. And the players like, we got to get a point. You know, they got to get a tie or a game goes into overtime or whatever, they get a point, that kind of thing. So much of it was just that. And then it was just Brenda Moore's slow build, if you will, just stacking one more layer and keep doing it and keep getting a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Trusting the process. And Brenda Moore, to me, has now established himself as one of the great sports figures in Triangle history and North Carolina history because he did it as a player and he's done it and he's stuck with the organization. He's an organization guy, right? And he is a part of the fabric here and he should be celebrated for that. And I'll go a step further. I want Raleigh to get a Major League Baseball team, and I think Raleigh would do well with Major League Baseball. The market, I think, is big enough for it. I think the appetite's there for it. And hockey people take this the wrong way, but if hockey can make it here and succeed and excel, and let's remember, a lot of the emotional outpouring we've seen in recent weeks are people that live through them trying to get the 8th spot. And it meant something to them. So the foundation, the seeds were long ago planted with a lot of these people. And it wasn't just a lot of Johnny come lately. Let's go jump on the bandwagon because these guys are winning. They have bandwagoners. Every sport's got that. But it's sports. People want sports winners here. And there's been a lot of sports winners here. And I think baseball culturally has been a very important and popular sport in this state for a long time. If you go back and look at American Legion Ball, how popular American Legion Ball, you got the Coastal Plains League, which has done very, very well for a long time. The college teams, Carolina draws okay. I mean, state does too, but you got the Durham Bulls down the street.
Great baseball state, really. Especially
there's a lot of minor league.
Yeah,
there's a lot of minor league towns in the state that have done well. We got some fantastic minor league ballparks. You got Greensboro's got one. Charlotte's got an incredible park. They just built one in Fayetteville not that long ago.
Wilson's getting a new one right now, which is kind of a wild time to be alive. Yeah,
100%. So I think the Hurricanes actually helped that process. And I saw where I'm trying to think of who was it somebody in the local TV asked Dundon the other day after the game, their night after the game, about baseball. And
it was I can't think, it's WRAL. I can't think of his name.
I couldn't tell what local network it was.
I think it was WRAL. I could be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure because
was it Pat Welter?
I think it was. I'm like 98% sure it was.
But they've got ownership. I mean, they've got a guy who knows how to win, and he's got his tentacles elsewhere too, by the way. I just think it helps because imagine getting a big league team here and then establishing roots and it becoming important. When losses become painful, you've got yourself a fan base. When losses are dismissed, you don't. And it's funny, the Arizona Diamondbacks won a World Series their 3rd year, and I used to think, wow, these people are that excited. Like Vegas. Look what Vegas has done in hockey. Like, I look at their crowd at home and people that are all dressed up. I know it means a ton to them, but I think of the Hurricane fans. You think of the 45-year-old Vegas fan and the 45-year-old Hurricanes fan. The 45-year-old Hurricanes fan lived through all the Eric Stahl years, really, really good years. And then I remember one of the years when I covered them, they had a terrible time scoring. They just stuck them in front of the net. They just, you know what I mean? They're back in the day when they could never, ever score on a power play, but they could kill power plays, all that kind of stuff. So for you Super Cane fans, I still will say that my favorite interview, my favorite go-to guy back in the day was Jay Harrison. He was a lot of fun. American, he went to Michigan. He loved college basketball and college football, so we used to talk about it sometimes. But the 45-year-old Carolina Hurricanes fan has lived the pain. So the success means more. So I think this celebration that we've seen is legitimate. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great for the area. And I actually wrote a story in 2006. I talked to some of the Hurricanes about it. I said, you're the only thing around here that could bring Duke, State, and Carolina fans together.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of sounds weird to say that now, but it's true.
It's true.
It's 100% true. And baseball would do that too. So I think it's very, very cool.
I love it. Yeah. If they bring a baseball team to the area, I bet you'll see Michael Malone in them stands, man, bringing this whole thing back full circle.
Well, there you go. Back
you know
full
what
circle.
I mean? You know what I mean? I 100% agree. By the way, you talked about Brendan.
We got to do this too.
Yeah, I'm going to do that here in a second. You talked about Brendan Moore being a legend of this, triangle. I completely agree with that. But I wonder who's got the better physique. Is it Brendan Moore or Fedora? Because I think Larry Fedora is giving him a run for his money in terms of, you see that picture of Brendan Moore in the locker room celebrate with his shirt off? The dude looked like he lifts weights for 8 hours every day. It was unbelievable, man.
Where Larry has the edge, and I can speak from personal experience because when I covered them, I'd stood next to Brendan Moore many, many times, is Larry doesn't have a hockey face.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Brendan Moore's got a hockey face.
Yeah, that's great
the hockey point, faces are unique.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
He's a great figure in this area now, and he's lived here. I believe he married an NC State girl. Girl went to NC State, big State fan. Mm-hmm. So I've seen him when I used to cover State too. I used to see him occasionally show up to NC State basketball games.
It's only knock against him, I guess, if he's a State fan. It sounds like if you're a Carolina fan sitting out there.
I mean, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that'd be awkward. You can't wear. Yeah, you get escorted out quickly if he was wearing Carolina blue ties all the time. All right, man. But I do want to read a real quick. We do have an exciting new sponsor here at Hero Report, presented by Taro247.com. And guys, 250th anniversary of the country's coming up. Very, very, very close. It's July 4th, so not far away at all. But what if you didn't just read about the American Revolution? You lived it. And that's where you can check out the new book, The Unlikely Life of Oliver Atkinson, as AJ throws the cover on screen over there a second. But it drops you into the chaos of the Boston Tea Party and carries you through the birth of a nation through the eyes of a young orphan searching for purpose. Fast, immersive, and also grounded in real history, even with a thread of faith throughout it as well. So, guys, grab your copy today at the America 250 store and experience the founding from the inside. Link in the description. It'll take you right on over there. I still got to read this book. I need to get a copy myself because I'm looking forward to checking it out because I've seen there's been a couple trailers put out about it. I'm like, man, let's just get a movie out there while we're at it too, honestly. Unbelievable. It looks awesome.
The trailers are phenomenal. And there's a long trailer that I've watched. I thought I was watching a trailer for a movie.
Yeah, it's the same one. I was like, what is this?
Times are changing. I'm going to have to do something like that in my Fort Hunt book when it's ready. And also the children ones would be really cool to get some cartoons out of that. But it's the perfect time for it. America 250. This is a quintessential American story. And it's not totally rah-rah. Like I don't think the appetite is there. I think people want truth. And it hits on some of the realities that Oliver had to deal with and the backdrop. The story is fictional. It's a fictional character, but he's living an American 250 kind of life, and it's very, very fascinating.
Great name for a fictional character in that time period. For some reason, Oliver Atkinson just rings like 1776 for some reason. So I'm all about it, man. All about it. Yeah, you guys check it out. Links in the description below. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. That thing up there. Love that cover. Like I said, it looks like a freaking movie poster.
He's riding a horse.
I know.
Riding a horse. He's got the red coats behind him.
Got the British chasing him, man. Like Paul Revere, British are coming, man. It's fantastic. I love that cover. It pops. That cover pops. I'm a big I judge a lot of books by the cover, AJ. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that one is yep, takes that box. You know what I mean?
I'll have to get your seal of approval to Fort Hunt because
holler at me, man. I'm a visual media.
It's with the publishers right now, and we haven't decided on the cover, and that's what we got to do soon because the thing's going to print here fairly soon.
Important cover. It's important, man. A cover, you got to catch the eye a little bit. So I'd love to see it, man. I'll give you an honest opinion on it, but
that's not my area of strength.
Yeah, you're more of you've been in this writing business and this radio podcasting business for too long. You're not much of a visual media guy, which is fair. It's 100% fair. All right, man.
It begins with this visual right here.
Hey, you ain't the only one, man.
I guess you would think it could only go up, but it might go downhill.
You ain't the only one over here, man. All right, guys. We appreciate y'all watching as always. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out the book and keep it locked at Taro247.com. See y'all next time. Thanks.